There was a lot of different things, but that was, I would say, the major thing where I had the most emotion, where I was on the verge of suicide the day before, and the day after, I was like, I want to live my life. Like you said, growing up, we got criticized. If you messed up in class, you sat in the back. You were stupid if you said the wrong answer. You were laughed at. You were all these things. And we grow up thinking that failure is bad, when it's like, no, bro, invite failure into your life. We learn from failure.
Welcome to Spiritual Warrior TV and Podcasts, your go-to channel for everything related to spirituality, metaphysics, personal development, and well-being. I'm your host, Renzo Ruiz-Haas, and I'm on a journey myself as a truth seeker and as an explorer to discover and to share with you all the best tips, tools, and different approaches that contribute to nourish our souls, embrace our humanity, and help us incarnate the greatest and brightest expression of ourselves. Because when we become better versions of ourselves, we make this world a better place. Yeah.
Nice to see you, bro.
Yeah, man, it's so awesome. It's been so long.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? This is the podcast. What type of podcast is it? Is it
It's I wanted to do a free flow with you.
I just wanted to know if you had a structure to it. Because some people that I hop on podcasts, they have like a structure and they have like they want to do something. But if you don't, I'm down to just chit chat.
Sometimes it depends who I'm having as a guest.
I'm different.
You're different, brother.
I love it. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
But perspective is everything. Honestly, it's everything. I teach that to my students. Right now, actually, one of my students was reaching out to me and telling me like, hey, one of my clients doesn't want to pay a certain amount anymore because I charge USD, but they're Canadian and the exchange rate is so high that they're like freaking out. So I was like, just change your perspective. Just tell them the whole time it was that price. Like if I told you it was $10,000, would you still be okay with it? Yeah. Well, it's not 7,000 US, it's 10,000 Canadian. Are you okay with it? Just like, it's weird how just your perspective changes. The numbers don't change. And all of a sudden our brain's like, okay, I'm down for that.
Yeah, and I've been working also on my relationship with money and how I see it. And I came to a realization that the value that we give to something, it's directly related to the value that we give ourselves.
100%.
Like the prices, who sets up the prices? You do, according to the value that you think you are providing to others. And well, also it has to stay like within,
Reasonable.
Exactly.
You would think that, but then you would look at like a pin from Prada and it's like $700 or whatever the fuck it is, that pin there. And then you look at a regular pin and it's like 3 cents, right? And it's
see, this is something that's still fucking with my mind. I'm still like working on it and trying to process that because it's true, like what you're saying. So
it's the flex culture. Yeah, all it is the flex culture. Like for example, if right now it's the value, okay, if the value of things to you as well. Like for example, social credit is today's money. Okay, if you have $1 million in your bank account, no one gives a shit. But if you have a bunch of luxury goods that everyone can go, wow, look what Renzo has. Now all of a sudden you have social credit. Now you have, in people's eyes, you are somebody. So what happens is people generally will spend money to earn social credit. That's based off of buying a blue check mark on Instagram, which costs $25,000, $30,000, and it brings you almost nothing except for social credit. Things like a pin for $900, certain shoes that are $2,000, $3,000. Now you also have to keep in mind that these people, their dollar is not the same as the regular person. The regular person that works 9 to 5 and gets paid $14, $15 an hour, he has to work 6 to 7 hours to make $100, or somebody else charges $2,000 an hour. He's, you know what I mean? Like to him, that's like, it's a real, like I went to a restaurant once. Have you ever been to Nurserat,
No.
the Salt Bay restaurant?
Oh, the Salt Bay. I heard of the Salt Bay, but I didn't know this restaurant was called like.
It's
What's
called
the name of it? You said?
Nurserat, Nurst. Some I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, guys, but it's,
I didn't even know the name of it, so.
yeah, I think that's his name too. And then he called Nurserat, something like that. But that, bro, you go in there, a plate of like mushroom, or like a small little thing of mushrooms, like $65. Okay, French fries like $50. A steak, like my meal alone cost 1,400 USD.
Wow.
Okay, to me that is a lot of money. Okay, because I'm not,
For a meal, I guess, yeah, for sure, man.
but this is where my mind started changing, Renzo, and I had a different perspective on money because my entire life I was only surrounded by people that made $15, $20 an hour. I was never surrounded by people that were making $250,000 a month or $500,000 a month. So when I started surrounding myself with that, luckily I had a job that allowed me to hang around with these guys. I started realizing that $1,400 to them is like us spending $100 on a meal.
Makes sense.
Right? So whenever you tell them a $900 pin, it's like us spending $9 or $90 on a pin. It's not as much. It's just like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. It's relative to what we make. Like the smallest guy made $250,000 a month in that room. So like, what is $1,500 for a meal for him? It's like if you made $25,000 this month and went to spend $100 on a meal. You could do that. Right? This is where my relationship with money changed. This is where I started seeing things in a whole different world. Because I'm like, wait a second. There's people out there that they're hoarding money. They don't know what to do with it. And as long as people have good services to provide, you could charge whatever you want. I have people that do coaching that charge $100 an hour. And I know people that charge $25,000 for an hour. Almost identical, Renzo. Almost identical. But it's if they're comfortable and they go out there and they ask, people will give you money.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. It's crazy how it works. And what determines like the value of something? Sometimes it's like it seems to be so random. Like for example, you take NFTs, that Mad Monkey thing. I don't know what it's
Bored
called.
Ape.
Oh, Poor Ape, sorry, yeah.
Mad Monkey, you're thinking of me. I like that.
I'm thinking of you, Mad
Monkey, that's you.
But yeah, I knew it had something to do with apes. So that thing is like NFTs that sell for like I don't know how many,
like
thousands or like millions, and people actually bought this thing. I was like surprised, man.
Now the thing is, with the majority of NFTs, 99.9% of NFTs are absolutely useless. They're just a picture, a JPEG, right? Like an image. That's all it is.
Yeah. But then it goes back to what you were saying. Like people want something that it's unique that nobody else has to
like
make them feel like.
Yeah, to say like I have this, no one else has it. That's number one, right? Now NFTs are used for like multiple things. The second thing that like for example, Bored Ape, it's not just an NFT. If you own a specific Bored Ape, you will have access to certain things. Like some Bored Apes, you have access to the Playboy Mansion anytime you want. Some of them you have access to call celebrities anytime you want, specific amount of celebrities. It's like people that will be like, if you have this Bored Ape, you could contact me. You have my phone number. So like the Bored Ape was for exclusivity. If you want to get invited to private yacht parties, you would have to have a specific Bored Ape, right? So they put a value to the NFT. That's when Gary Vee also came up with VeeFriends. So he has NFTs that he literally draws with his pen. Like they're so ugly, but one has like, some of them you buy and you could like talk to them on the phone twice a month for like 30 minutes. Another one, anytime of the V conferences, VCons he has, you get out to go for free. You don't have to buy a ticket or anything. So he put value on the NFT. And then based on what you feel that is valuable for you, you pay for it. It's like if I tell you now, like, what's your favorite car?
My favorite card?
Yeah.
CARD or my favorite car, like as a vehicle?
Vehicle.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a big car person. You know that?
Let's say just like
Just a Tesla, whatever.
Tesla. Okay, cool.
It's not even true, but well, let's say it's a Tesla.
That's fine. We're gonna use the most expensive one. That's like $200,000. Okay, on a Tesla.
Mm.
Now, if I come to you and it's something you really want, and I go, "Hey, Lorenzo, I have $10,000. I could give you this $200,000 car." Right? I bring it in the room. You're gonna go around the world trying to find that $10,000, right? Because the value of $200,000 for you is what you want.
Right.
Money is no longer an issue. It's just your perspective on money before that. So now you're like, oh, 10,000, I could do that. But I could give you the same thing. I could tell you, what's your least favorite car? And you tell me a Honda Civic. And that Honda Civic, let's say, for example, is still worth $200,000. And I'll tell you, hey, for $10,000, you get the Honda Civic. You just don't want it. Because the value is not there enough for you. The main thing is not valuable enough for you to go above and beyond to pay for it. Somebody would be like, this ring, like this Aura ring, is like $350, right? And what it does is it keeps track. I don't know if you can see the inside. It keeps track of your sleep. It keeps track of your heartbeat and everything.
Oh.
Okay, and it tells you how long you sleep for and all that good stuff. And it's cool. It's valuable. But when I tell people that, they're like, $350, are you out of your mind? Right? And it's all about perspective. On like, my perspective is like, okay, but for $350, I could find out how my sleep habits are, find out how my heartbeat is, find out when I should be sleeping, when I should be awake. No, like an entire, how can I say it? Like,
it gives you a lot of feedback.
A lot of feedback to me, $350 is nothing, because if you go to a doctor to get the same amount of feedback, the tests and the this and the that is going to cost you $400 or $500.
Yeah, and it's also good for, I mean, keeping healthy habits, you know, keeping track of your habits and see, because in the end that's going to cost you even more if you end up like, you know, not sticking to your healthy habits, because like you can't, I mean, if you can't track your habits, it's really hard to, I mean, keep them to stay motivated, because you don't see any results, right?
100%, bro.
And with that, you can see results, and it will prevent you from seeing a doctor later on.
Yeah. What are some of the ways you stay organized or stay disciplined?
Well, right now, I recently read a book called Atomic Habits.
I love that book. Yeah.
And man, it was mind blowing how like you probably read the book before. Yeah. And I was amazed by how say that you don't change your habits based on simply doing, but it's kind of like you transform really your identity.
Correct.
And that was like, whoa, it hit me, you know? It's like, shit, yeah.
What I love about books is that a lot of people try to read a book and try to understand the whole thing. And I'm like, guys, just try to take one thing away from the book. That's it.
Well, because anyways, you're not going to memorize all the pages of the book. You take exactly what resonates with you and what you need, right? And if something impacted you in some way, that means you needed that.
100%. And now moving forward with your life, your entire life, that little golden nugget that you got will help you like 1 billion times more in your life. Because now every time you're trying to get a new habit, you're like, no, it's not a new habit. It's who am I trying to become? It's so
exactly
hard. Yeah.
And then it's no longer about achieving something for a certain period of time. It's about like becoming someone, and it's an everyday thing, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Have you listened to The Compound Effect?
The Compound Effect?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read that one yet or listened to it, but I heard someone saying it was like the little changes you do every day that in the end become like if you change just a little thing every day, in the end, if you look at it like a year or 2 years, it's gonna be like a a huge change, right? Is something like that? Or am I completely off?
Yeah, along those lines. I mean, generally, the
Mhm.
compound effect, is if you do something very little every single day, it doesn't add up, it multiplies, right?
Right.
Like everything, like they compare at the beginning of the book three different friends, one person that ate the same, one person that ate an extra 20 or 30 calories a day, and somebody that lost 20 or 30 calories a day. The first year, nothing happened. Second year, nothing happened. Third year, nothing happened. On the fourth year, that's when literally the compound happened so quickly that the person that was eating 5 or 10 or whatever, 50 calories a day, 30, he gained like 10 pounds. The person that wasn't eating anything, he just stayed normal. And the guy who was eating a lot less, he actually lost weight. He stayed like below average than the other three. And it was only such a micro amount. It wasn't even amount to like physically. It's like less than a bite of chocolate. It was crazy. And then they teach you like 31 days. If you take a penny and you double it every single day for 31 days, you know how much it becomes, Renzo?
How much? I suck at math.
$10,737,000 if you double one penny for 31 days.
Oh, wow.
Right? But on the 10th day, it's only at like $5. So the human behavior, what happens is after 4, 5, 6 days, 10, 15 days, we give up because we haven't seen the results. We're like, I've been working for 15 days. I'm only at $5. But then at day 20, you're at 100,000. And you're like, what the fuck? At day 20, right? It compounds so quickly, and that's pretty much our life, is that we don't realize how things happen, but they all compound based on our habits. And that's why I went to compound effect, because depending on our habits, there's a saying that says, we don't dictate our future, we dictate our habits, and our habits dictate our future.
Yeah.
Right?
So true, man.
Yeah, of course. It's like the little things that we do day in and day out that eventually create our reality. And the compound effect really changed my life on that. Like, I don't know if I always saw these things, but when I read it, it kind of gave me that more of the confirmation. Like, you know what, Sam? Like, yeah, bro. Like, it's really, you're right there. Like, it's the compound effect of you putting in stuff. You've been putting it in for 10, 15 years. It's about to happen for you. Keep going. And then I listened to the book right after that called 3 Feet from Gold. And that's when it was like, this year was like, no, I definitely need to fucking keep going. I don't know if you ever listened to 3 Feet from Gold as well. It's a really good book.
To who?
3 Feet from Gold.
3 Feet from Gold. I'm gonna write this down, man. Actually.
Yeah, that's a really good book. It's I don't know if you know Darby's story, the one that he quit digging for gold 3 feet from gold.
I heard the story. There was like this guy who bought some land and he was digging and he stopped 3 feet, and then the other person who bought it actually became rich, and he never actually got to the treasure. And if he would have dig a lot, like 3 feet more,
We've got like all the gold.
And not only so, the story, it's not that he would have dug 3 feet more. That's where the story gets mixed up a little bit. Okay, so I'll give you the story how it kind of is. So Darby goes and starts looking for gold. He finds gold. He strikes gold. So he's like, whoa. He goes to his family members. He's like, guys, we want to grow this company. And in order to do that, to get more gold, we need money to get equipment. So everyone put in money and they got a bunch of equipment and they started digging. They dug, they found a bit of gold, they found a bit more, and they kept digging, but they kept digging straight. Okay. And they created a huge tunnel. But at one point, the gold ran out. So instead of going to hire a coach or somebody to come and help them find out what's going on, they just kept digging. They couldn't find anything. So they stopped. They stopped digging. They went to a guy that works at a pawn shop. And he's like, hey, man, I want to get rid of all this stuff. What they didn't know is the guy at the pawn shop has been studying gold for 10 years in his life. Okay. So he was never able to afford these materials and land and all this stuff because he was just so broke. He was poor. So when the guy came, he's like, I'll buy it for you for $100. Darby had no choice because he was like, okay, I'm done. He's like, I'll buy the deed of the land and the equipment for $100. So okay, cool. Back in the day, $100 was thousands of dollars. So he bought it from him. Mm-hmm. The first thing he did, though, he hired somebody that told him where the rest of the gold is because he didn't understand. So when he took the guy to the plant, they realized that the person only dug this way, but gold, the way it grows is one line this way, and then they all grow perpendicular to it. So it's like one big line this way, then 100 rows of gold, but you have to dig 3 feet this way and this way, not straight. So it gives you an idea that yes, sometimes we are going in a certain direction and we're 3 feet from gold, but we might not be going in the right direction. We might have to stop and look left and right to see if we have to take another route. Sometimes if we keep doing something that's not working, we may have to change directions eventually. That's how I understood it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That was way more articulate than my shitty ass story.
No,
that's like 2 seconds.
no. Bro, I've watched
That's
that
pretty good, man.
like 30 times, so don't worry. When I first heard it, that was my story was your story. I was like, yeah, stop reading your gold. But yeah, bro, I've watched it so many times. So now I know the story. But there's some really good stories about that.
Yeah.
Quitting right before success and all that good stuff.
So yeah, man. Like, I mean, what else have I learned this year? Habits is the main one, the main thing that I started not only learn, because you can learn it intellectually, you'll know it, but then when you actually start applying it, that's when you really fucking embody, and that's what I've been embodying this year, man. Habits. I realized that, like, one of my mentors to Soma, he said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I even add to that, how you live one day is how you live every day.
Yep. No, life, yeah, it's I 100% agree with that. Some people say no, some people argue with me, like, no, sometimes I could do that. I'm like, look, it's up to you. But the reason why we say that is so that way it becomes part of your subconscious. It becomes such a habit that you don't have to consciously have to think about it when you're doing it. Like if your floor, let's say in your car, is always dirty and it's like, oh, just today, it becomes a habit. That becomes a habit. But if every time you get in your car, you remove it, then it's how you do it. Like it becomes habits. It's like you're saying, you really have to do everything the same. It's how you do something, it's how you do everything.
And this doesn't mean that also, like, it could happen that one day, you had a different day or something happened, you couldn't clean the floor. That's fine. It doesn't mean like you need to be an extremist with everything you do. But once you do it once and then the next day you do it again, then you're starting to create another habit, which is not to clean up the floor, right? And that's something they mention, I think, in the book as well.
Yeah, doing the opposite, because our neurons in the brain, those that fire together, wire together, right? So if you do something over and over in a habit, it becomes just your subconscious, it becomes muscle memory, and then it becomes natural. But if you're like, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do that, your brain is so confused. You're like, what the fuck do we do? Ends up doing nothing, which actually leads me to my next thing. Do you feel, because something you just said right now was, some days it's okay that it's not so perfect. And nowadays, I feel like we're falling into this world or this realm of everyone thinking that every day has to be perfect. Or every day has to be the same, because if not, they start feeling guilty. They start feeling...
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's so powerful what you said there, the guilt part of it. Because, I mean, it leads to more... It's like you're digging yourself deeper down the hole, and then you can even become depressed out of thinking that way, like, oh fuck, and you start feeling more guilty about it, and then it creates like a vicious cycle. So definitely, if one day you can't be 100% every day. Some days you're going to feel like shit. It's normal. We're like energetic beings, right? Sometimes our energy levels fluctuate, like everything. And some days we're going to feel like we're low energy, and it's okay. But the worst thing to do is to, like, shame yourself for it or feel guilty about it. There's no point. Just, okay, you fall off the horse, you remove the dust, and then you get back in the horse and keep riding.
100%, bro. 100%. It's one of the biggest challenges that I feel. That's why I asked you that, because in today's society, everyone's in this rat race, and like everyone's just comparing themselves on social media and all this crazy stuff that some of my students come to me and they miss one day of something and they feel like they are the worst people in the world, bro. Like, they're like, I'm so bad. I'm not disciplined. I don't deserve this. I'm like, chill, yo. I'm like, I played Fortnite yesterday all day long and I still run 7 businesses. Don't worry about it. Like, it's okay not to do shit sometimes, But
it's even more productive.
It is.
To actually take that time to disconnect from everything and not do shit. But really, when I say not do shit, I really mean it. Like, not do anything.
Yeah.
And just relax your mind to clear, to clear all the fucking rumination that's going on in your head.
Yeah.
And then the next day start over fresh.
Start over fresh. And like, look, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it breaks the momentum. And again, guys, we're not condoning that you guys play video games all day.
Yeah, for sure.
You definitely want to keep doing something. You definitely want to keep moving. The idle mind is the devil's playground. So you don't want it to be empty for too long, because your brain will start playing with you. So yeah, man, like I completely agree with you. Disconnect, have fun. That's where growth happens. Same thing at the gym, right? You work out. You don't get bigger whenever you go to the gym. You get bigger whenever you stop going to the gym and your muscles reform and get stronger and rebuild. And then you go back and you rip them again. Same thing with our minds.
Exactly.
We're working. We step back and we're like, hey, whoa, I could change this in the business. I could do that. I could do this. Yeah, bro, it's completely different. And that's one thing. It's one message that like if I could tell anybody is, guys, life is long and just enjoy the journey. Stop trying to get to the finish line all the fucking time so quickly. Like,
is there even a finish line?
The finish line is when you die.
And even then.
Yeah, even then, literally. It's true.
Is there even a finish line?
Is there even a finish line?
It's like money, right? People, like, yeah, I want to have this amount. And then when you get to that amount, you want to go to the next level and have this. It's a constant game of like living in the future.
Yeah.
With the anxiety of like, I want to get here to this level. But then we don't take the time to enjoy when we're in that level. We don't take the time to enjoy that moment. It just takes a second and then we're already looking at that next
The next step, always. That's fucked. I wonder if it's the society that does this to us. That's always like, we need to keep going. Or if it's our drive.
That's a good question. I think it all depends on the intention of like why you do it, right?
But yes, I agree with you. Yeah. I guess it's your intentions of why you're doing it.
For what reason do you want to get to that next point?
Yeah. Correct.
Is it society's pressure, or is it really something that like a goal that you have a deep desire in your heart, to
get to whatever that place is?
So it's really subjective to each person, because to one person it's about flex culture and how can you get more so you could flex more, and somebody else is like, I just want to grow more so I could help more people and help myself more and grow as an individual. Yeah, you're right. I think it's both.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's both for sure.
So, brother, tell me about one thing that really changed your life. Like there was the Samir before that, and there was the Samir after that. Whatever it is, and like an experience or anything.
Fuck, you know what's crazy? I was thinking about this the other day, and I had when my life pivoted, but I just lost it right now. But okay, so I had a lot of ups and downs in my lives. Okay. I went through a lot of trials and errors. I've never had anyone support me, anyone to help me, whatever it is. So I had to do everything kind of on my own. Right. And when I was 27, I had an okay life. Like I was happy on the outside. I was go, moving around, making a bit of money here and there. The thing that a lot of people didn't know about me is I was really depressed. I I had thousands of dollars into debt, which isn't a lot now that I think about it. Back then, it was really, really bad. I had worked since I've been 12 years old. I have not a dollar to show for it. In fact, I'm in debt. I have no money. I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars into different businesses. And I'm super, super depressed. To the depressed where I'm helping everyone and I just want to kill myself. Like in 2017, I was on the verge of suicide. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore because what's the point of living? Right? So I'm on Netflix. I'm actually sitting right here in my basement. I'm on Netflix and I watch a show called I Am Not Your Guru by Tony Robbins. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And one of the guys in there, he wanted to suicide. He wanted to kill himself, whatever it is. And Tony Robbins kind of like shifts him like on the spot. The guy feels happy, whatever. And I just like, I felt something too. And I kind of like teared up. And then as soon as I got off of it, for some reason, I just went on YouTube and I saw a video called Do You Know Who You Really Are by Bob Proctor. And I opened up, I'm listening to the video. And at one point he mentions the book Think and Grow Rich. So I go and I download it right away. I'm on Audibles. The week before that, actually, my friend recommended me to download books because all I do is listen to music. And he's like, that might be part of your depression. You might want to learn or grow. And I was always against books. I was like, nah, it's stupid. Books are stupid. Like, I don't need to learn more. I don't know why I thought that.
I think that's cool. It's a programming from school.
Yeah.
Because all the books that they gave us there, it's like,
Yeah.
none of them are about personal development or
None of them, bro. None of them. I remember listening to the first book called Rework, and I was like, what the fuck? This is the best book ever. I'm so like relatable. I went into this rabbit hole, ended up downloading Think and Grow Rich, started listening to it, and it really gave me a different perspective on life. And then I started slowly, I remember sitting down and being so excited for the future. I remember telling myself, man, in 2 years from now, life is going to be completely different. And I went on to this rabbit hole of learning, self-development, growth, the journey. And along that road, it was very hard. Like, bro, like a lot of people are not going to understand you. You're going to lose a lot of friends. You're going to deal with a lot of confusing days where you don't even know if you're doing something right, especially if you don't have a mentor. It's one of the hardest things. You can't afford a mentor. You can't, it's really, really hard. Nowadays, mentorship is everything for me. Every athlete, every elite has a coach. There's a reason for that.
100%. Yeah.
I'm all for that now. I've invested just this year thousands and thousands of dollars just into mentorship because I've learned
Same.
that you have to take it to the next level. And that's it, bro. It took me from there. And what's crazy is that journey, Renzo, this was 2017. That journey led me to love Think and Grow Rich, learn everything about it until this year I met the president of Think and Grow Rich Institute. And he's like, I see something in you, man. I'd love for you to come, work with us. So I actually now I'm finishing my certificate.
Wow.
The first Canadian certified Think and Grow Rich coach to coach other people to become coaches in Think and Grow Rich.
boom.
Boom. What a small world.
Man.
Like,
That's
bro,
amazing.
bro.
I didn't even know that, bro.
Surprise, bro. I keep it on the down low. I don't share too.
Yeah, we haven't spoken like so long, but
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
it was a series of events. It was a lot of other things as well that had happened in my life. It wasn't just that specific moment. There was a lot of different things, but that was, I would say, the major thing where I had the most emotion, where I was on the verge of suicide the day before, and the day after, I was like, I want to live my life. That was the day that it turned around. But leading up to it, there was hundreds of things. I remember going to the store once and I saw, this was like 2 or 3 weeks before that. I was depressed. I had no money. I have a video of this. I had no money to fill up my car with gas. I didn't know where I was going to eat. I was freaking out. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do today? And then I went to the mall because my friend was shopping to go down south or whatever it is. And I was like, I'll come with you. I'll change my mind. And as I'm just standing, walking around with him, I see a person in a wheelchair being pushed by somebody else. And this person is completely disabled, just like a vegetable. And I just started crying, bro. And I'm in the middle of Old Navy.
Wow.
I'm like crying. I'm like, what's going on? And I look and I'm like, God, like, you're giving me these signs. Like, you have everything it takes to change your life around. This person here is sitting in a wheelchair and look at the smile on their face. They're still
Wow.
there enjoying life, right? And they have they can't even move when they want to move. They want to go somewhere, they can't go. They have no hands. Their hands were like, they can't do anything. They have to say something and somebody else does it for them. And I'm over here complaining because I have a few $1,000s of debt and I want to kill myself because I don't know my life purpose. Get the fuck out of here, Sam. And I just, boom, started changing my mindset, started having different breakthroughs. And then I watched that video, changed my entire like perspective. That day on forward, I changed my entire perspective. Anyone that I meet is suicidal, anyone that's going through things, I know how to get to them now because I was literally there. Like I was right there. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it really makes you put things into perspective. And when you see someone in a wheelchair like that, you're like, yeah, maybe I'm not so bad after all, right?
No, we have everything. Most of us have everything, all the capabilities to do everything we ever wanted, bro. It's our mind that keeps us limited. It's our mind, our surroundings that start telling ourselves, no, we can't do it. No, I have this disability. I can't do it. I'm limited. Bro, there's people that lift weights that don't have arms. It's like a real thing. The guy has one arm and he could fucking lift up as much.
Yeah, there's this guy, I think Nick something. What was his name?
I think I know what you're talking about though, but
this guy has like no arms, no legs, and he's working out and doing shit, like amazing shit, you know?
Correct, bro. It's all in the mind. There's pro skateboarders that don't have feet, that don't have legs. They are pro skateboarders and they don't have legs. They're blind. They're pro skateboarders.
Yeah.
This is how limited that we put ourselves.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And going back to what you were saying, you know, I don't know if it was probably a mix of all of that. School, society, our parents, they made seem failure as something like terrible, you know, like, oh, you have to avoid failure at all costs. And if you fail, it's like, that's it, it's over. Like your identity becomes failure.
Correct.
And it's such a like terrible message that society sends to people about failing, about like embracing our failures, you know?
I tell people to fail on purpose. Like my students now, every time they fail, I'm like, how many times did you fail today? Not how many times did you get good things? It's how many times did you fail today? And they're like, what? And I'm like, when you fail, your brain works more. The part of the psychology part works way more because it's trying to remember things. It's trying to prove yourself right. Failure is so beautiful, bro. It's just that, like you said, growing up, we got criticized. If you messed up in class, you sat in the back. You were stupid if you said the wrong answer. You were laughed at. You were all these things. And we grow up thinking that failure is bad. When it's like, no, bro. Invite failure into your life. We learn from failure. Have you ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics?
Psycho-Cybernetics, no.
Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. He's a doctor talking about psychology, and he's a plastic surgeon. And through all of his years of doing surgery and all this stuff, he noticed that people have whatever perspective they have on it, they create. Like, for example, if you have a scar and I remove your scar, you believe you still have your scar. You will always believe that you still have a scar, or you believe you're ugly. There's one part where he talks about failure and how the failure mechanism works in our brains, and how he explains how everything is based off of failure. Like the best athletes in the world, the more that they mess up on throwing a baseball, the better they get on where to actually throw it. Right? If you play Mario, I played it actually the other day with my little nephew. He tried it the first time, he lost. He tried it the second time, he got a bit further, but he lost again. Third time, he lost again and he got further. But every single time he lost, he actually ended up finishing the level after his fifth life. But every time he lost, he learned not to do that the next time he got around to that enemy. He's like, oh, I have to jump over him now. We learn from our mistakes. A missile, it continuously messes up its coordinates. It goes left and then it fixes itself to go right, and then left and right until it gets to wherever it needs to get.
Exactly.
Everything's based on failure mechanism.
Because like every time you're trying something new, basically, how are you supposed to like be 100% good the first time and know everything? Like,
You can.
That's the reason why you're trying something new. It's to like learn how to master it. And by learning how to master it, the whole process is about trial and error. Like me. Trial and error. I said that right.
Yeah, you said it right. Yeah, it's definitely it's all trial and error. That's all it is. It's trial and error, and most people aren't willing to try. They're afraid of failure, and I was part of that, bro.
And I realized.
Yeah, I was of course like part of that too, and I realized it wasn't even the fear of falling; it was the fear of other people laughing at me falling on my face.
Yeah, it was a crazy.
When you realize that that's just all part of your ego and you really let that go, it becomes so liberating. It's like you no longer give any fucks and you start like doing, right?
Yeah, bro.
And it's a process. Don't get me wrong, it's a process. It's like different layers, right? You remove one layer and then you didn't realize there was another layer deep within your subconscious mind. You're like, oh shit, okay, maybe I still have them. And you start removing layers like an onion, man.
Yeah. Because as much as we say it, we still believe fear of criticism is probably one of the biggest fears, but it's as much as we remove layers, sometimes it keeps coming back. Maybe a different layer, like you said, but it's like it's still somewhat there. And only recently that the past 2 months is really that I've been putting it in perspective that like I really have to not care what people say or think. To a big extent. Now, we obviously can't do this with harm. We can't go around talking shit to people or whatever and be like, I don't care what you guys think. No, it's not about that. It's about like putting out content per se, like for us as coaches, and not caring about what people have to say or the criticism or the views or the likes, just putting out content because we know that this is going to help the world. And this is our purpose and our passion. Right. And that's only getting to me recently. Like all the posts I post, sometimes I criticize myself, right? Like all this.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us, man.
To the best of us. But like I'm realizing like, bro, no one cares about us. Like if you think about it, okay? Like just think about like when something really when shit hits a fan. Let's say, for example, this is really depressing kind of. Let's say you go to a funeral. I don't know if you've been to a funeral in the past few years or whatever it is.
Once in my life and never again. I don't like funerals.
I don't like funerals either.
I rather remember the person like, you know, how they were when they were alive than
100%.
just seeing them dead. There's no point for me.
I agree 100%, and that's why I don't go. No disrespect to the dead person. I love him, and I will go visit. Like,
of course.
And all that, but just I don't like that because it's just so depressing. But
it has nothing to do with the person, with the dead person itself, or like the dead, but just like you said,
just a weird place to be. But what I noticed, bro, last time I went was 80 to 90% of the peoples were on their phone, on WhatsApp, talking to old friends that they haven't seen each other in a while, and they're just
at the funeral.
At the funeral, this happens often, bro. Like you're dead. What are they gonna do? They show you your respect for 5, 10, 15 minutes, but then after that, they're there for 2 hours. They're talking to their friends. They're talking about the basketball game and the football game and what they did and what they're going to do. And they're making plans for next weekend. Do you guys want to hang out? Next weekend, the boys are coming over. Do you guys want to come hang out? I'm not even exaggerating. Those are like, that's what happens. I've been to, that funeral. I've been to a few more. I didn't just go to one. I've been to a few. And generally, they're like...
Because the funeral I've been to, it was like before 2000s. So like...
Times have changed. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, times have changed. People didn't have phones back then as they have now.
People used to be in the present moment and give respect. Now it's like, let me get the fuck out. Let me check my score. Let me do like my crypto and whatever it is. I promise. It's crazy.
Let me get my rush of dopamine for the day.
Right. And then when's the feast? Everyone's waiting for the dinner. And then everyone just eats. Like, all this time, you spent your entire life trying to make these people happy or trying to impress them or trying. And at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck. Now, I'm not telling you to go into the ground not being remembered as a good person, but in the sense, do whatever you have to do. Because at the end of the day, everyone cares about just themselves. Just themselves. And it's sad to say, like, look, I'm not saying, again, we help each other out. We're there for each other. Everyone's there to help each other. Right? But you don't sit there all day long going, look what Sammer did today on his post. Why did he do that? He's such a loser. You don't do that shit. But for some reason, the person that's posting it thinks that. Like when you post a piece of content, you might be like, oh, who's judging me? Maybe not you, but generally like, who's going to judge me right now? No one's fucking sitting there judging you. Everyone's thinking
That's true, because everyone's just so busy with their own challenges they're dealing with in life. So
exactly. And the ones that are doing it usually aren't doing anything in their own life. Right? Like I've had user 38, whatever the other day. He's like, this is bullshit on my video. I'm like, thank you, user 30, 38, 42, whatever. He has 0 posts and following 500 people. Like, obviously he's not going to, but like, if you put out value, like if you're like trying to change the world, there's no point to have that. You know what's crazy, Renzo? Is the ones that are trying to change the world are more concerned about other people's criticism than those people that just turn on the camera and go, and then they post it.
Man, you're bang on, man. That was like,
bro.
Yeah.
I look at this and I'm like, I'm judging myself for half an hour because I don't know if I said the right word. This person decided to take a video of themselves which brought value to 0 people, and they press post. They're like, hey, I'm going to post this today. Like, this is going to be my post. I'm going to put no value to the world. I'm just going to show the world my angles, and I'm just going to press post. And they post it, and they go viral, and they get hundreds of thousands of likes, hundreds of thousands of views, and they're not even, it's crazy, right? Like it's just wild to me. It's wild to me.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I also like try to be careful with my words, to not so much to like people please, but more like so that the message that I'm trying to convey actually lands
100%.
The way I want it to land.
Of course.
Sometimes
like I realize sometimes I say things and then you got a person who completely misinterpret the shit that I was trying to say, and then like no, but that's not what I meant. Like what I meant was but I realized that no matter like how good, I mean, we try to do our best to explain the things and say them in the best way possible, I guess, but there's always going to be people like twisting your words, and I mean, there's nothing we can do about that, really.
No.
They're just gonna. I mean, it's just gonna be
people speaking from their wounds
or from some trauma that they didn't acknowledge.
Like, okay, so you seen the video where I want to relate to this exactly, and that's why like, have you seen the video where I have a cup of Pepsi and I fill it up with a cup of water?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
the negative thoughts that we have, and
correct. Now,
yes,
you saw it. Most people that saw it were like, "Wow, that's actually a really good perspective." But then I had one person that was like, "But the glass is overflowing. Doesn't that create a mess?" Like, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about, like you said, they kind of interpret like no matter how perfect our videos will be or how perfect our words will be, there'll always be one person that'll have a different perspective, or a few people, which is good, which means that life has different perspectives. It's not one thing. Nowadays, actually, when I go to my coachings, I tell people, because a lot of my students would come back and be like, well, Sam, there's somebody that we could do it this way too. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, so you're wrong. Like, no, I'm not wrong. It's just that I'm right. You're right.
There are a million paths to get to whatever you want to get.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I'm really being honest with them. I'm like, guys, there's no silver bullet. I want you guys, I'm not your guru. I'm not someone that tells you what to do. I am a transformational coach, which tells you how to be. I don't tell you what to do. I just tell you how to be as a human being, and you do whatever you want to do. Because I could tell you 100 different ways to make money. I could tell you 100 different ways to unlock your iPhone. There's swipe up, there's lock, there's face. They're all right, but just like whatever you want to do. So yeah, you can't please everyone. So she goes on and saying that, isn't it creating a mess? And I'm like, yes, of course. That's usually how feelings are when you're trying to get rid of negative thoughts. It feels like it's an overwhelming mess. But within good time, it will overflow with only positivity, which then you could pour into other people's cups. So she goes, so what you're trying to say is that you could forget or go through difficult times by simply adding positivity to your life? Like, And these things just go on. And I ended up replying like a huge thing because you can't win with me, right? I'm not going to read all this right now for you, but you could win with me because, a wise man once said nothing at all. If I feel like you truly are not going to get my...
Right. If the door is completely closed and there's no point of even like getting there because there's not going to be any receptivity to the message, then I mean, at that point, it's just a waste of time and energy. But
Right.
if the person is actually genuinely curious, then yeah, for sure, engage in a discussion and
I'll plant the seed. I'll do whatever it takes. And you know what?
Yeah.
A little side note, if it's public, like this is on my Facebook page, I will reply. Even if I know she's not going to get the message, I will still reply because if somebody else reads her message and then goes to see what I said, then that might help them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So social media is somewhere where I will still speak up. Even if I know the person's not going to listen, I'll still share my side.
Yeah. And guys, by the way, the best thing to do if you don't agree with someone is just either keep scrolling or DM them. Send them a direct message. That's the best thing.
Or ask a question out of curiosity. Not a sarcastic question. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know this. But like, I'm curious. What makes you say that? Right? And start a real conversation. Show genuine interest that you care about what the person is talking about. And know that 99% of things in this world is opinions. Everything I say right now, this entire podcast is my opinion and Renzo's opinions. Like
That's it.
it's just opinions, and it's our choice, to accept it or not. And yeah, man, sometimes you hang around with someone, they're trying to prove the other person right, or like trying to prove their point. They're like, no, but it's this, and it turns into an argument. And you're just like, okay, cool. If you feel that way,
Yeah, that's something I learned throughout 2020 a lot.
of not trying to win a battle.
Of like,
Picking my battles.
Yeah.
Picking my battles. Because, man, I would get into like all these arguments in social media about, the thing that we can't even pronounce.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasted zero energy on that. I did not. I was like, do what you guys want. I did not participate in that. I did not participate in I'm not participating in the recession. I'm not participating in news. I don't participate in the world.
Because then you give your energy to these things, right? And then you're like, and I mean, I don't regret it. It had its purpose then. Don't get me wrong. It was like, yeah, there were things that needed to be said, and I said them.
Yeah.
But once you said what you had to say, then at one point I felt like I was just speaking into a void or just like an echo chamber. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's no point. People realize whatever they had to realize at this point, and those who didn't, well, they're not gonna do it now, right? So, like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna go on with my life and what I want to create.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, I had so many of my friends. They lost their Instagram accounts, they lost their Facebook, and because all they had to do is kept sharing and kept doing this, kept doing that, and at the end, no one listened. And I was like, guys, the people that are listening are already following you. They're just encouraging you. You haven't converted anybody yet. I'm like, the person that wants to convert will convert themselves. Like, I know that, yes, it will help. Like if they see 100 people keep sharing about things, how it's hurting the people, then yes. But I have my friends that have seen all this shit and they're on their 4th booster shot.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, did you not see everything that was posted? Did you not see what the government is doing? No, the government's for us. Are you still really think that? Like, and then they just go into this whole thing and you're just like, you know what? Let me know how life works out for you in 20 years.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just like, yeah, that's what I mean by picking my battles, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And we all have our own different realities, right?
100%.
It's like,
Really, and when I say this, I really mean it. Like it's like we're all living in our different realities. that we create from our thoughts, our energy, and what we're putting into this world.
Yeah, 100%. I just really wonder if we're living like this because of social media and this world that we're currently in, like how it is, or where we live in the world. Like, I wonder if I go live somewhere where it's like Cuba, for example, if I'm still gonna feel that overwhelm of rat race, of government, of all these things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really wonder if it's where we live, because when I went to Miami during COVID, during the vid,
I'll edit that part out. I'll beep it.
I forgot I forgot it existed. I didn't know it existed. I forgot about it. There was no masks. There was nothing. There was no mandates. It was zero anything. And then when I came back here, I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Everyone is still here in masks and this and that. And I was like, wait, are we in different realities? Like, we're living in different, what's happening? That's when it really hit me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been like realizing more and more, at least from my perspective, that it's like there's the world, and then inside this globe there are many different globes, and people live in their own different realities, even in the same country, right?
Yeah.
Because you can have it in like, let's say in the States, there's a place that can be completely like ghetto as fuck, and then people who are living like on the street next to it, they're rich and they're enjoying all the commodities of life, and there are no issues going on in their lives. Well, not that there are no issues, but
yeah, just different.
I mean, just different, right? They don't have the same challenges.
Yeah, that's literally down my street. Down my street is homes that are multi-million, like $5 million, $8 million, $3 million. And then on my street, it slowly starts changing. And then my house, like a few years ago, was worth like $250,000, right? So it's like I live in a regular house, and next to me is like a $6 million mansion. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What do you say? Your house is amazing.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. Like, my house is still huge, but next to that house, it becomes like we look like we're in the ghetto, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Weird how that is. And I know we're not in the ghetto, of course. But you've been over, right? You've been to my house.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, bro. That's I just always wonder that, because sometimes, like, I wonder if it's social media that's creating all this anxiety with people, all this rat race, all this comparison, all this everything, and no one is happy anymore. There's like 23-year-olds that are depressed and have anxiety, and you ask them why. It's like, I'm doing nothing in my life. It's like, because you're fucking 23. Like it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But then they compare themselves to another 23-year-old online that's a multi-millionaire, drives, Lamborghinis, and has a company, and like so many I think it's social media, but I could be wrong, because social media.
No, social media has definitely changed the way we interact as a society, and I mean, in a way, it created connection, but at the same time, disconnection.
Yeah, created opportunity and connection, but it created disopportunity and disconnection, because yeah,
it's like porn, but for life.
Yeah,
literally. The shit that you see, like the it's not real. People are just putting the highlights of their lives, but you don't really see all the shit, all the struggle, right?
Bro, that's so accurate. That's like porn of life. That's a fucked up quote. That's
like, you see all these porn actors, and they're fucking
fake. They're actors and actresses.
They're fucking, but they're not really doing it in a genuine way.
Yeah, of course. It's just for the camera. That's all.
Exactly.
For the camera.
Yeah.
And that's where like you go clubbing nowadays, and the bottle comes out. No one's looking at the bottle. Everyone has their phones out. Everyone's filming to put on the gram, and then they put their phones down, and they're not even enjoying their night. They're just like, and then their friend pulls out their camera, and they're like, ah!
Like, yeah, holy shit.
And then they
How
turn on
many
the
times
camera.
have I seen that? Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's literally what messes us up in life is social media. And again, it doesn't ruin us because it's helped me a lot. It's changed my entire life for the better.
Right. It's a tool. It depends on how we use it, right?
But even me using it, I still get discouraged sometimes, bro.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Like there's this 20-year-old coach that I look at, and I shouldn't compare myself for anything, bro. But he's 20 years old. Like to me, I'm like, what do you really know about life? Like you might have knowledge, which is cool. It's amazing, but you may not have a lot of wisdom because you haven't experienced a lot of things. You're 20 years old, right? But he charges like $10,000 for a session. And this guy's a multi-millionaire, right? And I look at this guy and I'm like, what does he have that I don't have? Right? And I compare myself, which is deadly. It is fucking deadly. Because I don't know anything about his background. I don't know how wealthy his parents were. I don't know if they put him into the best mindset school. And he does know a shit ton of stuff that I don't know. Like, I don't know any of that stuff. But here I am judging because of a social media post. And I catch myself, and that's why I no longer judge. I observe. I observe what other people are doing, and I try to see how I could become my version of that. Right? A few years, like you said, 2020 and 2022 has really changed me in the sense of how I look at things. I used to judge a lot. I used to judge myself a lot. I used to judge others a lot. And I realized that judgment does nothing to me. It brings me no joy. It brings me, if anything, discomfort. It brings me, like sadness because I felt like I was never good enough because I was judging. But now when I observe, I admire. I'm like, whoa, this person did that. That's amazing. How can I do something similar to become like that? And as soon as I choose the word,
you get inspired.
You get inspired. And social media has recently been inspiring me instead of judging. That's why I started posting more. So I was like, you know what? He inspired me. I'm going to make fucking videos. Right?
Yeah. And then I, you know what? I looked at your videos and I got inspired too. I'm like, hold on. It's been like a year. I haven't been posting anything really. Also going through my own challenges in life. But I was like, no, fuck it. I got to start creating these habits of showing up more. That's why I'm coming back to doing the podcast and sharing more. Because the reality is that, the world needs it.
Yeah.
And I need it. And yeah.
Yeah, bro. The world needs it more than ever right now. The world needs it right now.
Yeah, it needs to hear more positive messages, more like not only positive but real, fucking transformational, authentic shit. Like the stuff you don't see in social media a lot.
Yeah. That needs to get down nitty gritty. And I think of that too a lot. And I always want to put out videos like that. But I'm like, I don't know how to create a video like that by myself. In a conversation, I'm able to come out with the deeper shit. Right?
Yeah. Because there's a person behind it. I find it so fucking difficult to speak to a camera. Because there's no soul behind, there's no one.
Yeah.
But in a conversation like this, it's so much better because like you're talking to a real person, right? And then the other person, it's playing like a ping pong match, and then it's coming back with another idea, and they're like, oh yeah, look at that. I never thought about it. And then you start flowing like freely, Yeah.
And a sentence usually works better when it's working on somebody else's sentence and it works well together versus an Instagram post, which I'm working on, but it's just so like, you have to come up with the entire message in 60 seconds. And it's like, sometimes these breakthroughs that we talk about, they 2 to 3 minutes long. It's not like sometimes I say one word, yes, but it was based on the 10 minutes that we talked about before. That was like breakthrough, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
what I'm
still
trying to
having,
get. Sorry, what's that?
no, it's okay. I was just gonna say that's what's giving me the biggest trouble of what to post on social media.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think we're coming back to longer forms of content.
I
Yeah.
mean,
In some aspects, in social media, it's getting like very short. I mean, 1 minute videos and very like, super microwave content. But I think there's another like there's another niche of people who are really looking for deeper content, like podcasts in long forms.
100%.
And I know I listen to a lot of podcasts and long form content because I mean when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning up the house, I like putting on the headphones and it makes me feel like I'm doing productive shit while I do the stuff that I don't really like doing, like cleaning up the house, cooking.
Correct.
and
Because you're
so
still
it makes me actually want to do it now.
yeah, I agree. I listen to Tom Bilyeu, Gary Vee, and a few other those guys. Their podcasts. You're learning something, like you said, so you don't feel like you're doing the dishes. You're like, fuck, I could be doing something better. But you're like, you know what? I could listen to a podcast because I can't do that while I'm editing or doing a video. So I might as well listen to it now. It becomes productive with your time, which is so.
Yeah, I think that adding those things there, I mean, I can't clean up the house, do the dishes, or anything without a podcast.
Because then I feel like I'm wasting my time, you know?
Me too, bro. It's crazy. I can't even drive anymore. Now I'm like, fuck, I gotta listen to something before I start driving. I put on a podcast. I still listen to music. Don't get me wrong. Like some people, like again, like we spoke about earlier, they take it so extreme that they're like, okay, now I can't do this. Now I can't listen to music. I'm like, guys, I have enough time to listen to a book every single day. I have time to listen to music. I have time to listen to a podcast, work out, eat, work, do everything I want, and still have time left over in my day as long as you're organized. So it's like, it's okay, guys, to listen to music, to listen to podcasts and all this shit. What's your favorite podcast?
I really like David Neagle.
David Nego?
Yeah, David Neagle.
It's like,
Nigel?
It's like eagle, but with an N.
Nego. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'll check
It's,
that out.
It's called the Successful Mind podcast. I really like that one. I like listening to like podcasts about psychedelics and plant medicine stuff. That also, well, Joe Rogan, classic one.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's good. Joe Rogan has its I like his stuff because there's like some stuff that's like, what the fuck? Like you really learn a lot of shit from it.
yeah.
It's just cool things that you probably don't know about. That's what's cool about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and this guy has the ability to, keep the longest conversations going with people and make it interesting. I don't know how he does that.
Years of practice, bro.
Man, this guy goes for like,
Like sometimes it goes for like 4 hours, and like, how the fuck do you do it, man?
It's because they shoot the shit. They talk about everything and anything. There's no filters, right?
Yeah.
When you don't have a filter, you could just speak. You could just speak, and you're not worried about the censorships. You're not worried about judgment. You're not worried. You just like fucking speak your mind, right? So
Yeah.
that's another
and
thing.
at this point,
He can't really get censored unless he said like something really fucked up. That's really like,
Yeah, literally. But even then, I think it'd be very hard for him to get canceled. Very.
Yeah.
He's too big.
that's the good part when you get to that level of,
Yeah. Yeah.
notorious.
He has a big cult following that he could start his own social media company tomorrow and he'd have 1 million people sign up like this.
Yeah.
And then he'd have a podcast again. So it's like, say what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
But I actually think, now correct me if I'm wrong, he usually has like, he knows who's coming on and then he like does specific questions. Like he has conversations, but he has main like 3 or 4 bullet questions that he brings up in the conversations very smoothly to keep the conversations going. That's what I've noticed from his podcast, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I guess he of course there's a bit of preparation kind kind of like, some bullet points. And then, well, he's a lot in the flow too.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of both, really.
Yeah. And deep conversations, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you and I start talking about aliens or start talking about conspiracies. We could talk for fucking 5 hours on this. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, non-stop.
So much to say about that.
Yeah. But no, bro. I think what you're doing is great, man. And spreading the love, spreading the energy. People need to hear this. People need information nowadays, and free information, right? So that way they could go out and try to change their lives until they could afford hiring a mentor or hiring somebody to come help them out and get them to the next level. I think this is huge, and that's why actually the reason why I started 2 chapters ahead was because I realized that a lot of people were afraid of getting started because they wanted to get to the top, or they were too afraid of getting a mentor that was way better than them. So 2 chapters ahead, what it does is you go and you only get someone that is 2 chapters ahead better than you. So let's say like you go to the gym, you don't go hire an Olympian. You hire a gym guy that's going to help you work out, right? Like just whoever the fuck's there, personal trainer. So same thing within the company. It's like we just want to help each other. So it's a community of people that just help each other out, that all just know a little bit more than each other. They don't have to be experts in the niche. They just have to know more than each other to help each other out. All for free for now.
Well, thank you for the love, brother. And for sure, like, I like what you're saying. You don't need to get someone who climbed to the top of the mountain. You just need someone who is just a few steps up. That's so true. And often is the best thing to do, because when you're starting off, like I'm not gonna go and get a coaching session with like Tony Robbins if I'm just starting.
Right?
Exactly.
It really makes no sense.
You'll get overwhelmed. You want to quit because it's too much for you. You're like, holy fuck, like, man, it's crazy. Tony Robbins, I'm gonna die on my first session.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is amazing, bro. I like I said, when I saw you, I was like, man, it's so admirable. I love
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And you have that, like, you look like a famous person. I don't know if that makes sense or not. You have like a face structure.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if that makes, some people just like they look famous and then somebody else looks like just like a regular person. You know what I'm talking about? Like you have this charisma, you have this like glow that makes you look very like famous. And then I was like, yo,
thank you, brother.
Hey, welcome, bro. Because the first time I saw you on my feed, I was like, yo, and I clicked. I was like, oh shit, that's Renzo. And yeah, I love what you did, man.
Thanks for the love, brother. Yeah, I really love what you're doing too, man. Putting all those like inspirational videos and stuff.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
I just, what's crazy, Renzo, is I still haven't found my voice. Is I don't know what type of content to put out. Like I put out that content, I watch it. Some people think it's good. They tell me it's good. I just don't feel like, it's like you said something earlier. It's like, I don't feel like I'm talking through the camera. I feel like I'm filming for the camera. Like if you look at my videos, there's a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
But is that a good
That's you,
thing?
man.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, is that I've been messed up with all these things that I've seen. It's like, am I supposed to be like, then I look at yours and I'm like, oh, I should slow down. I should become like Renzo more. I should be like, more like.
You know what, brother? I've been thinking about this as well. Is that personality is not this fixed thing. And one day I can speak with a lot more energy. Then the other day I'm going to be more calm. And I mean, it's not that one day I'm being fake and the other one I'm being real.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm saying this because I thought about this as well. And I'm like, well, is it really me? Is it this the way I should be expressing myself? Or maybe like I should talk differently. Maybe I should put more energy in this video or not. It's like, however you do it, I mean, we adopt different, it's like we adopt different, like Todd Herman would say, right? Alter egos.
Yeah.
Right? One day you're putting on this hat, and then the other day you're putting this other hat. and it's all you. It's all part of you. It's basically just different like aspects, different facets of you, of how you decide to show up. And depending also who you're talking to. Like if I'm speaking to a soldier, I'm not gonna speak to him the same way that I speak to my mom or to my grandma
You know?
Yeah.
or to my girlfriend. I mean, and it doesn't mean it's not me. It's still me. It's just different facets that I'm choosing to express
Correct. Yeah, you
at
have.
any given moment whenever I need to express them,
Yeah. No, you're right. And yeah,
So if right now you're choosing to do your videos that way, then that's what you're choosing to express at this moment. And it could change tomorrow if you want.
yeah. Thanks
I
for sharing
think,
that.
like, I
I
think,
think your content is amazing, to be honest, man. Like I really love the video also where you show the different, like when you were black and white, and then you asked the audience like, do you see any red?
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
I want to come up with those exercises. Those are fun, right?
Man, that video was awesome. I loved it.
I love it.
Good. I love the feedback, bro, and that gives me a different perspective because I used to come in thinking I always had to be high energy, but you're absolutely right. Like as a human being, we're not always. Sometimes we're up, we're down. Like our energies change. Because some days, bro, I don't film because I'm like I don't have the energy. Like I'm not where my other videos are. I have energy, but I'm like here instead of here, so I don't film, and that's why I haven't posted in like 25 days. Because I'm always like, is this content good enough? Am I doing this? I'm judging myself so much. And yeah, I right now need to really get out of it. It's crazy how, bro, I'm judging myself. Like people look at me and they're like, you can't judge yourself.
No,
I feel you, man, and fuck, we all do it at different degrees, but we all do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are times, don't get me wrong, there are times where I don't do videos, where I don't feel like I'm in the right energy to do them.
Yeah.
Like, and what I mean by this is like, yeah, sometimes like, you get negative thoughts, or like I get angry at something. I'm not going to do a video then because it's not going to bring anything productive
to my
Sure.
audience, you know?
So it's true that before I put myself in the setting of doing a video, I try to do a quick 5-10 minute meditation just to get in the zone, and then I ask the universe, and I don't know if whether you believe in God or the universe, but just like I call it the universe, put whatever label you want to put in there. I just ask the universe, like, please give me the best message that will help me and at the same time humanity move forward, that will bring more life to people. Because if it's for the benefit of all, it's also for the benefit of myself, because we're all like together in this. And that's what I do before every time I do a content, whether it's a podcast, whether it's video, whatever. That's what I do. It's my little
mantra. I like
sort of
that,
thing.
bro. I like that. I'm definitely gonna do that. I do ask for the universe, the infinite intelligence, God, again, whatever you believe in, about giving me the right answers, giving me the clearest speech, or helping me with what I'm currently going through in order to provide the best I can for the my users, whoever's listening. And often it's crazy. You just get these downloads. You're like, oh shit, I should write.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's so weird.
It's weird because sometimes I listen to myself, I'm like, man, I never speak that good. And like at that moment I said something that was like,
I'm so good.
so profound. Like, oh fuck, nice.
Yeah.
Was that me? And then I'm like, shit, man.
100%. No,
Yeah.
it was. I agree with you, and that's crazy how the universe works, and just the power of our minds, the power of focus, the power of belief in ourselves. Yeah, it's. I think it has to do with a lot of these things.
And on my last mushroom session, that I did. Um, the universe just told me, don't be shy to ask for it. Just ask it, whatever you need. And I was like, wow, it's so true that a lot of us don't even ask for things. And I asked the universe, please, like, give me the courage to embody the best version that I can embody, to speak whatever words that I have to speak, you know? And it actually worked, man. At one point, I just got up in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start, expressing myself more. And it just happened like that. And, wow. And then I realized it's because I asked for it. I asked for the universe, please give me the courage to do this.
For sure. Ask and you shall receive. That's like a true fact. It's like real, man. And a lot of people don't. And a lot of people will say, like, I asked for it, I never received it. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't work exactly like that. Sometimes you ask for it and you receive it 5 minutes later. Sometimes you ask for it. If your goal is bigger, it might come years later. It might change your focus in order to achieve it. Like, it works with a lot of different ways. But sometimes you literally say something like, God, please give me this, or universe, give me this, and 5 minutes later you have it. Sometimes it does work that way. It's crazy.
Yeah. And my mom used to say, it was in Spanish, caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar, which means walker, like a person who walks, there's no path. The path creates itself as you walk.
So by actually just putting yourself
in the motion of things into action, then the message will become more clear as you go. And you'll, like, just like you were saying for the rocket, how it corrects its direction, the same way.
I really like that. There's no path. You create, you walk and then the path gets created. And that's very true, though. Because everyone's path is different, bro. I could give you the same blueprints for me and you're going to be walking a whole different path than me. Because you have different circumstances, different mind, different everything.
That's what's beautiful.
Yeah.
My man, I want to ask you this last question that I always ask, because I know you got, like, things to do, is, what is your best tip to make this world a better place?
The biggest tip to make this world a better place. An eye for an eye makes the world blind. Meaning, if you're always trying to do what somebody else did to you, the world will never be a better place. Because we will never be able to get better if it's always based off of what the other person did to me first. If the person didn't show up to your birthday, you're not going to show up to theirs. Well, now you're just creating a huge pattern of negativity. No one's ever going to show up to anybody's birthday anymore because you created an eye for an eye. But if one person decides to break that and be the bigger person, they will lead by influence. They will show up, they'll break that pattern, and then the person realizes it, and then they'll show up to their birthday next time, maybe, even if he does. You do your part. Always do your part. Never try to do it based on what somebody else did for you. Do it because you truly want to, and because you know you're going to make the world a better place if you did do it. So that would probably be my biggest thing on how to make the world a better place.
Wow. That was powerful, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's actually, it's one of many, but that's probably my biggest takeaway of how to make it a better place. Yeah. What would be yours?
Love it, man.
What would be yours out of curiosity?
What would be mine?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I always ask the question, but nobody actually...
I know. That's why I wanted to.
Okay. Just let me reflect on this for a second.
Yeah, take it.
One eternity later.
I think it's, to have the courage to look at the places that, what some people call the shadow work.
Yep.
And to really work on your own limitations, whether that's limiting beliefs, traumas, anything that's stopping you from embodying the best version that you can become. And, to have the courage to look at the truth within you.
Yeah.
And
By doing that, by really working on your own shadows, you're no longer, at one point, you no longer operate out of wounds and out of traumas. And you're making this world a better place in that way.
Absolutely. You break the
because
Everything that we see in our world, like the wars, and all the chaos, basically, it comes from wounded people hurting other people.
Yeah.
Projecting their traumas on the outside, right? And I really like this quote, is that healed people heal people, hurt people hurt people.
It's very true. Healed people heal people, hurt people hurt people. Yeah. It's very true.
Right.
And that's where you could break that generational curse, or you could break curses and change the future by just helping other people, spreading the love. I love it. There you go. Huge.
Well,
bro.
thanks for asking me that. No,
Yeah, of course, bro.
now people have the answers. First time I actually shared it.
There you go. You heard it here first from Renzo.
You go.
So, brother, what can we expect from you? What can we expect from Mr. Samir? First of all, what are the things that you have to offer for people who are interested into getting to work with you, or getting to know you a little bit better?
For sure. So thank you so much for asking. I mean, you guys can reach out to me if you'd like at 2 Chapters Ahead on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all over the place. I'm called 2 Chapters Ahead. I'm a transformational coach, meaning I don't teach you what to do. I don't teach you how to have more. I teach you how to be more. I teach you how to become the person you want to become in order to do more and in order to have more. Because if I tell you to do more and you try to do more and you get overwhelmed, you won't be able to achieve your goals. So I will make you the most elite version of yourself, and help you with whatever current challenge that you're going through. That's what I offer. I offer one-on-one services where I could help you build your entire, program or whatever you have. If you have a challenge you're going through, you have a goal, a project, we can work on it together to make sure that you achieve it with your deadline. 2023 is going to be huge. I'm helping only 20 people change their life around. I don't work with a lot of people, just to make sure that each person actually gets a lot of my attention and time. I'm not on a hurry on calls. I'm not, hey, your 1 hour is up, we hang up. No, I make sure that you are super happy and you are ready to go throughout that next week. That's what I offer. 2023 is going to be huge. We're helping out, 20 people, which is more than usually I take. I usually take 10 people. But I've changed up my capacities a bit, so I'm able to help more people. And I'm ready to not change the world. I actually want to make the world a better place. There's no point of changing the world. The world is beautiful as it is already.
There you have it, guys. And I want to add to that. Not only Samir is he like a fucking awesome entrepreneur, but he's just like someone that I'm so happy to call my brother, and just an amazing human being overall,
I appreciate you, bro.
I mean, I trust this guy so much that I know for sure you're all in good hands. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, man. I love you. I mean, so much. And again, I'm super grateful for the infinite intelligence bringing us back together after so many, months and years, and getting us together, growing together and spreading this love. I'm super excited to see what the future holds for you, for us, for the world. And man.
Same, brother. I'm sending a lot of love, man. Love you so much. And I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Brett. Thank
all
you.
your future projects and in life in general,
Thank you, man. Likewise. Stay blessed, everybody. Thanks for listening. Just keep shining. And then, of course, always stay 2 chapters ahead of yourself. And I'll see you guys next time.
Peace, yo.
Peace. Bye, Renz.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found this content valuable. And if that was the case, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to get access to exclusive conversations, behind the scenes, and other special episodes, come support my work for only $4.99 a month and join me in the raw, the real, and the uncut moments, all made available to you for the equivalent of 1 cup of coffee a month. And lastly, let me know in the comments down below what are some of the topics you would like me to explore in the upcoming episodes. That was all for today, guys. See you all next time. Much love.